During this short video, you will see how you can purchase things online in a safe manner. First of all, I'm going to take you to something that people use quite frequently, which is online banking. So if you're a person who does online banking or you buy things on the internet, maybe a trip or that sort of thing, or your family does, the main thing to look for before you put in any account information, no matter what the website is to look for the HTTPS. The S means it's a secure site. However, in addition to that, you should also look for a little lock symbol. If it does not have both of these things, then chances are it is not a reputable site or a secure site. The next thing to consider when you're looking at sites such as eBay, where you can buy and sell things, is looking for various components. So here I have just done a search for a trampoline, as if I'm going to buy a trampoline. So here I'm going to click on this very first one that comes up. Here it's telling me that it's approximately $98. And it tells me the Canadian amount also. Important considerations are to look for the shipping. Sometimes sellers will have a reduced rate that looks like a really good deal, and it's not until you look at the fine print or the shipping that you can see if it's actually a good deal or not. Often they charge shipping and handling fees, and that can be above the actual normal shipping rate. So it's important to look there. Another important thing to look at is the return policy. If you're not comfortable with the product, or if you don't like the product, are you able to send it back? You also want to look that they are accepting your payment through PayPal or some kind of secure access and transfer of funds. The other important thing to really consider is how long has that seller been selling items online, and what is their feedback. The seller info is found on the right hand side here at present. So if I were to click on the seller information, here it provides me that this particular person has 98.9% feedback, and just over 6,000 people have provided feedback. Here it has a breakdown of the different pieces and how people have responded. And you can also see the individuals down here as far as who has left that feedback and whether or not they have been on eBay for very long. The stars do give some indication, but it is really important to consider that everyone does start out, and if they don't have a high number of stars, that it may be there may be more risk involved. However, not that it's always risky. Just use your common sense and ask a lot of questions and make sure that you're reading the pages properly. Another site that people go to quite often, where they're not actually exchanging funds online through credit card or through PayPal using your debit card, sometimes they'll go through Kijiji. Kijiji is a great way to get rid of stuff laying around the house that you no longer want. As you know, your junk becomes someone else's treasure. It's also a great place to go and get some good deals for things yourself. However, there's some things to consider before you rush out and go crazy on Kijiji. When you're in Kijiji, first of all, I've just done a search for TVs. So here a few different televisions have come up. Say I'm going to be really interested in this 50-inch Toshiba. I would go inside that particular advertisement and I would read any of the details that they have. Here this person doesn't have a lot of information for that, so if I was very interested, I would definitely be contacting the seller over here. You can actually get their phone number also, depending if they have made that available, or you can send them an email and ask for further questions. It will ask you to put a validation code so that the computer system can make sure that you are an actual person and not a virus trying to contact the seller or some kind of phishing software. It is important to note that when you send them an email, they will have your email address in return. So if that's something you're not comfortable with, you're best talking to your parents to help you out with that. Another important thing to consider when you're buying something on Kijiji is to not, whenever possible, meet them at their house in order to get the product. It would be best to meet them in a public area, and if you do have to go to someone's home, ensure that you're taking at least one friend with you or a parent, and making sure that other people know where you are at. That will help protect you. Now, if you're going to sell something on Kijiji, it is important that you don't necessarily put your address on here. So just leave it minimal. Just talk about the product itself, and if they are interested, they will get a hold of you. You can then meet them in a public location and do your transfer of sale, being very sure that you have your product before you give them the cash. Another place that a lot of people go to is Amazon. Amazon is great for finding books for school or for pleasure, and here I've just done a quick little search for Anne of Green Gables, which was a story I really loved when I was a little kid. When you go inside here, there's a book that you can choose. There's several that you can choose from. So here it's telling me that there's 4 that are new, but there are 77 used from 1 cent Canadian. That sounds like a great deal. Why would I pay $5.99 if I can get it for a cent? However, if I click on the 77 used, the important piece to look at again is the shipping. So even though they have the book at only a penny, here they're charging $6.49 for the shipping. And you can be guaranteed it doesn't cost $6.50 to get the book to you. It's also important, just like in eBay, to go and look at how they are rated. So what is the seller rating and what is their feedback? Again, asking the seller questions, if you have any, is always a good idea too. Amazon has a great return policy, so there is protection built in. So again, choosing a reputable site that is well known is often a better preference over just going to a random site. The third piece that I will discuss, or I'm sorry, the last piece I will discuss has to do with iTunes. So iTunes is used quite frequently. Many people have either iTunes App Store gift card linked to it, or sometimes in some cases it's linked to a credit card. With that in mind, your iTunes account with your password is like cash. So being very clear about not giving your password to anyone outside of your family who is linked to that account. Hopefully these tips help you as you navigate your space when you're buying and selling, purchasing things online. It's not about being scared of purchasing things online. It's about being aware and knowing how to best protect yourself.